Good afternoon, team. Good evening, good evening. How are we? Let's get this ready. The sun is so hot, Casino Square. It's so hot. I actually have two fans on me right now. I don't know if they're making. I honestly don't know if they're making me cooler or warmer. I'm actually going to turn that one up. I'm just blowing hot air around the room at myself. It is so hot in London. Do you know what? I was talking to one of my close friends today about, and they live in the US, right? And they were like, "Oh, why are English people always complaining about the weather and the heat? Like, this isn't anywhere near the heat that we get in the US." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the difference is, right? Our buildings are designed to keep heat in." One sec, this music's annoying me. Our buildings are designed to keep heat in, and it's inside my flat. Yeah, okay, so you have 31 outside and 28 inside. I have the other way round, right? 30 outside and it's like 36 inside, because all of the buildings are designed to make the properties warmer. That's why it's so hard. I have no aircon. The flat is way hotter than it is outside, and outside's really hot. I am sweating sitting here. I have no window open. I've got like my windows dark, right? I can't even open that window during the day because the sun will heat up the room too much. So all of the blinds in the whole flat are down all day, and still the building is just roasting. I'm also on the top floor, so all of the heat from the whole of the rest of the building all rises into my flat. So it's pretty toasty. It's pretty toasty, but I've got two fans on me. I've got my water. Just make sure I hydrate. But if you start seeing me sweating, then there's not much I can do. Come to Kensington Gardens for GoFest. When's GoFest? When is GoFest? When is GoFest? 12th to 13th. Okay. So what am I doing? My birthday's on the 11th of July. 12th, have I got anything planned? I think I'm probably free. Kensington Gardens. Yeah, okay, I can do that. I could. 13th, 14th, or 12th, 13th? Which one is it? What day of the week is it? I don't even know. 13th, 14th. 13th, 14th. Okay, 13th, 14th. Cool. Yeah, okay. I'll come Kensington Gardens. That's fine. I'll do that. I'll do that. Let's do some GBL for now, though. We're gonna run a team that I have tweaked ever so slightly. So we've dropped Shadow Typhlosion. Also, please keep reminding me that I've agreed to do GoFest in Kensington Gardens, because knowing me, I will forget. And/or I am pretty bad at getting out of the flat in time for an event starting, so we'll see. Sorry, can I pay for your trip? You come out? Yeah. You are a seasoned traveler, Sorry. You'll be absolutely fine. Okay, this is. I'm gonna. Let me set up this team. Okay, this is the team that we're gonna use. Kensington Gardens. I don't think I've actually ever played an event in Kensington Gardens, but I'm told that there are going to be additional gyms and spawns and stops and things for the London community. So I am open to it. I can't remember what it is that I need from the event though. I guess I just need more Necrozma, and I need Lunar Energy. That's all I need, because I think I've done everything else that I need to do. So I can't promise I'll be there like the whole event, because that's a long event, and I did do Madrid, right? But I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. Right, we are running in true blind format fashion for GBL, right? My opponents don't know my movesets. And so we're gonna try a spicy moveset and see if we can catch some people out. Do you know what happened, Casino? When I was in Madrid, I had a few people coming up to me and they're like, "Can I get a selfie?" And obviously, I'm happy to have a selfie, right? But I was surprised because they weren't like telling me their name. They weren't saying anything to me. They were just like, "Can I have a selfie?" And I was like, "Sure." Took a selfie, And then they were like, okay, bye. And I was like, wait, like, who are you? Like, tell me, like, how do you know me? Where do you know me from? Like, I want to know these things. 4, 5. So if anyone's listening, if anyone wants a selfie, sure, right? But tell me who you are, because I want to know. Yeah, I can't remember who was your username, but definitely someone I had a chat with afterwards. But there were definitely people at the GoFest park that just walked off, and I was like, why have you walked off? I was like, what's going on? But no, thank you for having a chat. That's what I see. This is what I want. I want to have a chat. I appreciate you. There were a couple of people when we were at the GoFest park that genuinely got their picture, looked at their phone, and just completely went in the other way, and I was like, bye. I don't want to get farmed down here. Cool. Yeah. Okay, I remember you. Your partner took our photo, didn't she? 2, 3. This is good. Oh goodness, I should have stayed in, but I wasn't paying attention. Now I'm in trouble. Well, that's that game done. You and Tom? Gengar Life Tom. I've done quite a lot of events with Tom. Tom is he's a good grinder. The bait, disgusting. I don't know. Sorry, I'm probably not going to do too long a stream. I've not even got an excellent there. Just because it's too hot. It's actually just far too hot to function. But go and enjoy your gym sesh. Proud of you. Do you know what? I actually reckon I can reach an attack lane. Oh my god! Why do I keep doing this? If I just stay in, I win because I can dynamic punch this ridiculous thing. And now I lose. Oh, that's so annoying to know that I would have won both times if I didn't switch out immediately. But well played by them. Well played by them. That was just well played by them. Yeah, I need to even wearing this, it's just too hot. Can I survive one counter on Poliwrath? Oh, they got the boost. I don't think I survive it anyway. But funny that they get the boost. Hydrate. I honestly really need to. Dang. Maybe I survive the counter, but Vic, Basti, Charmer. Let's go get them. Let's go hunt those teams down and try and beat them with neutral play. Okay, do you know what I am actually getting apprehensive about though? It's the 26th of June. Tragic Comics? I like him. He's a friend. He's a French player. He's actually the very first player I played against in an official tournament. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't know what's going on. There's some weird stutter here. So if anyone doesn't know Tragikomi, he pulled off one of the most incredible Shadow Sableye runs at an event that I think I've ever seen. He was so calm, he was so composed, and he top cut with it, and it was very, very impressive. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. I was born in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. 4, 5. But yeah, my heritage, my dad is Indian. Wiggly in the back will be tough. What do we reckon? We're fine here. We win. Yeah, I've actually personally never run Scald. One sec, let me finish this game and then I'll tell you why. I need to get their shield down so that I can power whip. Bonk. That's what's okay. Firstly, that's why I'm running Dynamic Punch, is because I'm expecting to see a decent number of Watergun Lantern. And I'm just going to turn this down. Tell me, by the way, is the music too loud or is it fine? Or you tell me if my sounds, etc., etc. Tell me. Because I've opted to go with earbuds today rather than my overhead. Because I've got, obviously I usually wear these, right? But I was just sweating. I could turn it up? Okay, cool, I will. But the issue with these is that because I've got a fan either side of me, the fans are like pushing against these, and so every now and again these are trying to like do the weird ambient sound thing. So then it just goes really quiet for me and then suddenly comes back up again. What I was saying was that in Stuttgart I ran a Shadow Poliwrath. And the team that I built this was the one where Colin used the team that I built, and he won Stuttgart actually, and I think I came 5th. Again, Shadow Poliwrath without Scald. Now again, Poliwrath without Scald. I don't need it. Like I like my fighter to be able to do what a fighter should do, and that means winning against darks, winning against normals, and for that, sometimes you just need some good fighting pressure, but more than that, I know that there's a lot of Watergun Lantern around. And I'm... What? Did they just get a pre-bubble? I didn't mean for that to happen. This is weird because I don't know how to deal with that Azu now. Bear with me, I need to think about this. The next frustration event is in beginning of August, right? This is so uncomfortable. Okay. Have you been running similar? Oh wow, that did more than I wanted it to. Shadow Pup Polly? I like Shadow Pup Polly. Okay, be bold, Freed. Over, under 1.5 regional wins next season? Definitely under, because I'm going to actually just try and cast... well, I'm not winning this. I'm actually going to put myself forward to cast every event and see how many they can give me. They obviously spread it around amongst the casters, so I'm not going to get... Wait, what? When did I lose a game? Before? Did I? I don't remember doing that. I thought I've only played 2. Oh, I lost my first game. I forgot about that. I'm not planning. Okay. In an ideal world, I forgot. Oh, I lost. Whoops. In an ideal world, in the dream scenario, they'd be like, "Hey, cast every event," and I'd love that. And that's not going to happen. So I obviously will play in the events that I don't cast. Although part of me is also this year. I really want to go and visit Sergio in Canada, so part of me is considering doing a Canadian event. 1, 2, 3. Wait, what's going on? 6. Let's go! Yeah, no, I'll come. If I can go to event X, but they say no to casting, will I? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this person has played Shadow Vic vs. Licky before, but what are they doing? They've given me switch and shield advantage here. This seems very strange. Very strange. And my goodness, did I need it. Didn't I tell you? Who was it? Who was it that said that you've been seeing a lot of Vic, Basti and Wiggly, and I said we're going to go hunt them? I told you. I told you. Yeah, you said it. You called it. You called it. I would love... Okay, my dream, my progress, my career dream for casting. Obviously, I'd like to cast Worlds one day, right? That's the dream. Good evening, K9. How are you doing? Obviously, to get to that point, you've got to do international championships. You've got to do more events. I've only done 2 events, right? I've only done 2. But I'm like, look, if I'm going to drop playing, and obviously, like, when I play, I'm like, I want to be a Worlds player. When I cast, I want to be a Worlds caster, so... Yeah, you got to apply for every single one, Henry. Like, I want to cast with Henry one day, right? I don't want to be limited. Why did they just discharge me? I don't want to be limited to only ever casting with EU casters, right? I love the EU casters, but like, part of my growth has to be casting with different people and understanding different approaches to casting and getting to cast alongside a variety of different style casters. And NA has a really wide variety, right? So I want that. That would be a very loud pairing. Honestly, like, it's all about entertainment. It's about entertainment, and NA have a few very good entertainers. Okay, I'm going for 2 body slams instead of 1 power whip, because part of me is assuming they might shield this, but it doesn't matter if they don't. There we go. So at least I can get some damage off. could be Lant in the back, in which case I'm in trouble, unless it's a water gun lantern, in which case I'm probably fine. Henry, between you and me, I do, but it's going to be my world's Licky, so we'll save that one for worlds. I mean, I'm running Dynamic Punch, so I will Dynamic Punch a lantern, right? I mean, ideally they quit, so that I don't have to play this out. Gah, you thought I would play a normal Poliwrath? Fool! Fool! What's the magic Licky IVs? No, nothing magic, just you go for as high possible rank as you can. And including Best Buddy, right? You just go for whatever the highest you can go is. There was once upon a time when Registeel was popular, that people were trying to go for a Regielick Breakpoint Licky. I wouldn't go for that now, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Reggie suddenly pops up again. I simply love the Azumarill, that is true. I wouldn't be surprised if Reggie pops up again at Worlds, because I think people are leaning quite heavily into Azu and Cress and lots of other Pokemon that are quite weak to Reggie. Win with the pump? Okay. Gil, thank you. That's really kind of you to say, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Speaking of which, though, I know I've missed a couple of messages there, so I'll scroll back up. You have the XLs to build a second one, but not the IVs needed. Do you know what I did, Henry? I'm actually going to show you how many Lickitung I traded. Look, there are going to be grinders amongst you that are going to be like, Freed, that's child's play, but how do I search my Pokedex? Thank you. So I've seen 3,000 Licky, and many of them, I won't lie to you, many of them are traded Lickitung where I've been trying to trade for the IVs that I need, because obviously best friend trades are perfect for Lickitung. And if you're looking for a specific spread and you don't have access to maps or anything, tell your locals, tell people that you're best friends with that you're looking for Lickitung, and just say, can you just save all your Lickitung and trade them. The only thing I would say is, if you are not playing in Worlds, if you are not... How do I say this? After Worlds, we're expecting a meta update. There is no real reason why Lickitung couldn't finally see a nerf then. So what I wouldn't want for you to do is put all of your resources into a Lickitung on the basis that you're like, this is definitely going to be meta for a long time, when we don't know that yet. If you want to use it in locals across July and across August, then sure. If you've got resources, then sure. If you've got dust, go ahead, spend it. But if you're not planning on using it in that time, save your energy, save your resources for some of the cheaper Pokemon to build. So Annihilate is an example. That also might get nerfed after August, but it's actually pretty cheap to build and it's pretty easy, right? So that's why I'm like, hey, build an Annihilate, because you'll get a lot of good use out of it in the meantime. But we've got 2 months. Hydrate, thank you. We have 2 months until the next meta update. We have locals starting in July. Not all of the events in July will actually have championship points available. We'll have some locals across August as well. So if you want to build it and use these Pokemon then, go ahead, do it. But what I definitely don't want is for you to think I'm saying, hey, Lickitung's top meta, go and build one, and then you spend 600,000 dust and in August it gets nerfed. I don't want that to happen. That happened to a lot of people after Medicham got nerfed last year, and they were like, why did people make me build that? But yeah, I have 3,000 Lickitung, and bear in mind, I'm not a big grinder. I don't catch loads of Pokemon. I definitely don't catch many Pokemon manually. Most of these are from trades to get the exact IV spread that I want. and high defense is definitely good. High defense is definitely good. We're talking about, Sergio, we're just talking about get the highest rank you can. Look, I don't... It's good and well me saying specific IVs, but with Lickitung, get whatever the highest rank you can get is, go get that one. You can see Body Slam getting +5/+5. No, that's too much. That's too much. I can see Body Slam getting a -5 damage. Is all. Currently, Body Slam is 35 energy for 60 damage, which is a DPE, damage per energy, of about 1.81, which is very good. And I think that it will maybe change to 35/55. I think that would be a pretty reasonable adjustment to it. Called a 4-star in the wild. Cool. That is cool. I like. I've actually hatched a few Hundo Lickitung. Can we actually talk attack weight annihilate spreads? Sure. What do you want to know? You just chase attack. How could they nerf Lickitung? I think I've answered that one. Nerf Lick energy generation? Nope. You cannot do that because I mean, you can obviously do whatever you want, right? But the problem with fast attacks is that they are very hard to adjust without making big changes. One-turn attacks in particular are very hard to tweak. Any adjustment to a one-turn attack has a massive impact on that attack. If I give you an example, Dragon Breath, imagine Dragon Breath if it reduces by 1 damage. Think about all of the matchups that then change. Lickitung, you're saying energy nerf? Lick only gives you 3 energy per turn. You change that to 2, Lick is now dead. Dead attack. It's gone. Lickitung is gone. And I don't subscribe to this idea of kill a Pokemon, right? Unless it's Medicham. I don't subscribe to this idea of kill the Pokemon. What I would want to do is we see Lickitung in top 20 usage, and I'd say just get it well away from top 20 usage. But if you guys are investing in it, I don't want for you to invest in something and then it's just completely unusable. Sure, take it out of the top meta, but don't make it completely unusable. I don't think that's fair on players that actually grind and spend their time building these Pokemon and don't get a good opportunity to use them, right? We're all about encouraging people to get into the game, and then if you just nerf everything such that they're unusable, that's like... It's about finding that balance, I think. It's about finding that balance. What are the mons that Lickitung use Lick? Oh, I guess... Snorlax. Not that that's particularly relevant at the moment. Whip is good. Whip's fine. Whip's fine. Don't nerf my Zarude. Took me long enough to build it. If we get Shadow Mankey, we might not need to go for high attack IVs. Yeah, instead you'd have to go for high defense if you get the Shadow. I agree. I love Lick Obstagoon in Ultra League. Sure. But no, you do make a fair point. You do make a fair point. There aren't a ton of Pokemon, meta-relevant Pokemon that use Lick. My reservation is more both take it out of the meta without killing it, because people that have invested in it would like to see some play with something they've invested in. But also, two, is that Lickitung having play isn't a bad thing for the meta, right? It's not a bad thing. It's a neutral pick. It's reasonably low RPS. Other than more recently with Vigoroth, I guess. But otherwise, it's reasonably low RPS. A Body Slam nerf actually hits Vig quite hard. And that makes Licky less RPS in a way. But I'd like to see some new fighters come in. And my goodness, if we see the fighter that I want to become meta, that'll be the day. Arrow, tell me. Which fighter, if you could pick any fighter in the game, I want to know which... No, you can't pick Hawlucha, right? Because it's not accessible. Well, I'll come on to Hawlucha in a second. Any fighter in the game, yeah, Sergio knows. Pangoro. Pangoro is the fighter that I would love to become meta. Shadow Hundo Gligar for Ultra League, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is build, if you're going to build something for Ultra League, consider Gliscor. Have a look if you've got a Gliscor available, because Gliscor in Ultra League is pretty good. Me and Shao or Riot. What was the thing I was going to come back to? Hawlucha. Okay, so with Hawlucha, how do we fix this Hawlucha issue? Hawlucha has a ton of potential, currently not accessible. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would make Hawlucha accessible. I'd release it globally, and then I would release the shiny exclusive to Mexico. And in my mind, that is the best balance between having regional, and I'd actually do that with all regionals. I would personally get rid of all regionals and just shiny lock the region. What can we do to make Sork OP? Oh, that's a good question. I guess it's got one of those low kick or low sweep things. I don't know about Sork. The thing is, honestly, I think it's actually pretty easy to buff anything, because there are so many attacks in the game that have never been released, that if you want to buff anything, you just release a new attack, you give it to the Pokemon that you want to buff, and you don't really distribute it anywhere else. Flamigo is going to be a fun fighter. Yeah, fair. Free. Please invest in an AC or something. Literally from the time I've left. Yeah, it's really hot. Solely, it's really hot. The problem is, I've been open to getting air conditioning. The difficulty is, I have like 4 to 5 days of sun a year in London. Right. The only other heat we get is just car fumes, and so it doesn't seem proportionate. One sec, I will catch up on this in a sec. Palafin? Yeah, Palafin in hero form. You will struggle in Hawaii if you only get... No. Jangles is very different. I'll explain in a minute. Let me just finish this Swampert for Alligator Charizard team, and then I'm all yours, okay? I'm trying to showcase my Poliwrath, so I want to not lose if I can avoid it. Okay, cool. One sec, let me take these in order. Pangoro is hampered by its greatly stat product. Scrafty will always be better. Hard disagree, Arrow, and I'll explain to you why. Pangoro is one of the few Pokemon in the game that can learn Karate Chop. Because of the low distribution of Karate Chop, you can buff Karate Chop to be the best fast attack there is, right? So you can make Karate Chop better than Mud Shot. You can give it Mud Shot energy generation, but you can also give it greater damage. You then only distribute it to like five species, which would be the Electivire and Electabuzz, Magmar, Magmortar, which already have it, Pangoro, Primeape, which I think already has it, Machoke already has it, but you could also give it to Machamp. And Machamp might already have it as well. Anyway, those 5 families can get Karate Chop. You can buff Karate Chop as much as you want, because all of them are super squishy. The advantage of giving it 9 energy is that Night Slash is 35, which means Night Slash after 4 Karate Chop, Close Combat after 5. That pacing, despite the stat product, can make Pangoro meta in the right meta. If you have huge fairy usage, then sure, you're not going to get that. But otherwise, you're beating normals, you're beating darks, you're beating ghosts, because now you resist the ghost as well and you can hit the ghost back. Pangoro has potential, and in my mind I love it because it's got no stat product, right? So it's squishy, it doesn't block anything else from being meta. Whereas if you give insane moves to like Aegislash, you block so much from being meta. That's why I'm on the Pangoro train. You've already got a good Gliscor for Ultra League, you've got the XL so don't know what to do, then sure, go for it. Go and have fun, build a Gliscor, build an XL Shadow Gligar because you've got an awesome hundo, and just go and have fun, catch people off. Consider running Night Slash as well if you really want to, just play something funny. Iron Valiant for research. Iron Valiant? That's the Gallade one, right? I don't even know what type it is. I'll struggle in Hawaii if I only get 4 or 5 sunny days a year. No, I'm pretty good. I'm very good with heat, and I travel a lot, right? And I go to some very sunny places, and I love it. The issue is that we don't have aircon here. We don't have aircon, and the buildings are designed to keep heat in, which means all of the buildings are hotter than if they are outside. So you have nowhere to cool down. That's the issue. Palafin is pure water, but it has access to fighting attacks and it has a massive stat product, so in Master League it can be pretty insane. Also, it has access to Jet Punch, which again they can tweak to whatever they want it to be, so they can make it as good as they want it to be. Machoke meta? Yeah, Machoke's limited by its diversity of attacks, right? Because it's all fighting at the moment. Machamp can get... Yeah, Machamp, Legacy, Machamp, yep. Also, should I tell you one thing? No aircon at the office. Unfortunately, there is aircon at the office, to be fair. And I'm going to be honest, my office life is pretty good because we've also got an outdoor cinema. And at the moment on the outdoor cinema, they're just playing all of the football games. So a lot of the time I'm just out watching those and working at the same time. So I can't complain about that. But when I get home and when I'm streaming, like, obviously the room gets warmer because I've got lots of devices on and lots of screens on. But I'm pretty sure this fan is blowing hot air at me. Marshadow, Great League CP, no it's not, the other thing I would buff, 7, 8, 9, 10. What was their lead? I'm actually going to take this. Because I reckon I can get a Dynamic Punch off against the A9, which I'd quite like to do. But is it Charm is the question. Because then I might have to throw on weird timing. Yep. Give Mew Fairy Wind. Cool. I had a feeling that was in the back. Okay. You would give Mew Fairy Wind. Mew with Fairy Wind. I don't know if that helps Mew, to be honest. I don't have anything wrong with buffing Mew because I think that it should be one of the mythicals that most people have access to. I don't know. I would like to buff Pokemon that are accessible, Pokemon that are squishy, Pokemon that are cool. Cool's obviously subjective, right? But in my mind, if you think about anyone that currently doesn't play Go, who's interested, surely they're going to be more interested if they like the look of the meta. If you show them a meta where you've got some meany, weird, quirky Pokemon at the top, some people might not like that. Some people will be like, hey, that's really funny and that's really cool. I get that. I totally get that. But I think you need a balance, right? You need a balance of popular Pokemon, fun Pokemon, and a few funny, memey Pokemon, sure, but like, I wouldn't want to see a meta that is led by something that is, you know, generally quite like, oh, what? Why would we be attracted to this game over VGC when VGC get to use Incineroar and Landorus and Go is using Palpitoad, for example, right? Lots of people just might not be that fussed about it. Some people will be obsessed with the idea of using Palpitoad, right? And I understand. 5. Okay, they're definitely going to throw the Earthquake on the first one, so I'll shield that one. Then I'll debuff them. 4, 5... I'll just debuff it now, it's fine. You popped in for Palpitoad hate? Cover your eyes, cover your ears. Slowbro has never been cooler. Yeah. No, the thing is, there are tons of Pokemon, right? There are tons of Pokemon that you can make cool. You could name, like, any, within reason, quite a lot of Pokemon. And it's very possible to make that Pokemon top meta if you want to. You might have to do a lot of work, but it's possible. You know, I was looking at Sims earlier today that someone sent me, where they'd put Fortress at the top of the rank one. Yeah, rank 1 of the PvPoke rankings, and it's not a difficult thing to do. I think all they ended up doing was they gave it rollout and they gave it some other buff. Why do we have Pup on non-Shadow? That boy Jay, listen to me. I need you to pay attention, please. Okay? There's no point me sharing all of this information if you're not watching, you're not listening. I am not running Pup. I am running Dynamic Punch. Okay, ideally I get my bubble and catch the X-Scissor. We're going to run Pup Dynamic Punch. Arrow, I don't listen or watch, I just appeared. No, I actually expect that from you, Arrow. Arrow, I would be disappointed if you did anything else, to be honest. I would be disappointed if you did anything else. GG. Wait, did I just play you? Who did I just play? I can't even check. Alves, did I just play you, or are you just saying GG for that game? Either way, it was a GG. It was a GG. One. Five. You're glad they didn't make Keldeo insanely strong. But this is the thing though, right? Like, I'd love for the solution to be make Pokemon more accessible. David Hawk? Is that who I'm against? Is that who I'm against? I think I'm gonna get Hydro Pumped here. So I'm trying to, ideally, if I am, catch it on this. Either way, I don't mind. Okay, 2. Oh, Greedo. Yep. I'm going to throw on bad timing here just because I want to get this through before their next Trailblaze. If they undercharge this slightly and farm me down, that's a lot of energy that I don't really want them to have. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I don't know how to take out this Azu now. Actually, no, they're pretty low. I think after this, I now survive their aerial ace, right? Oh, that might have been a mistake, actually. I'm going to need one more counter on this Azu. Oh, I'm a fool. Actually, they are debuffed. No, I messed up. I messed up, actually. This is silly. Silly, silly, silly. Silly. Oh, David. David Ark. Very good, Shep. Very good. Your appearance causes many things, pain being the main one. No. Arrow's great. Arrow's great. Arrow, are you taking Wardian Lantern to Worlds, or is that too meta now? Is this Yonkus? Should we avoid losing to this if possible? Are you taking Watergun Lantern? Good catch. Don't know what happened there. Good catch though. What do you mean? Is anyone paying attention in chat, please? Is anyone paying attention? We are not. We cannot read. Well, Pup's doing a lot more damage than it used to. Put it that way.
Driving down the state, yeah. Look around for the next crowd, yeah. Going our own way, trying to find a new route, yeah. We'll be going in circles, trying to find a way, searching for the things we do, yeah. Dropped out without a choice, yeah. Hair blown round to the
We Pup here? Yeah, okay.
I just wanna get to know ya. I wanna go far to the coast, yeah. I wanna drive fast to the ocean. I wanna know.
Are we about to make him top left? Because I would really like to see that.
I wanna have kids of my own, yeah. Live a life till it's over. But until we do, it's sleeping too.
Put that in the YouTube video. I dare you. Okay, I'm annoyed at myself for dropping that other game against that Gligar. That team does have a certain Poliwrath weakness, that is for sure. Poliwrath, especially the non-Shadow variant. If anyone's wondering why I'm using non-Shadow, it is because it is better it is better versus both for Alligator and Altaria. I haven't seen many Altaria, but definitely better versus for Alligator. If I were running Shadow, I'd be open to running Pup. If I'm running non-Shadow, then Dynamic Punch is pretty funny. But you can, half the time with these things, right, you can only use it for a day or two, and then you have to change again. Especially when you're reasonably early into a season, like, you have to change your team quite a lot as you navigate the ranks and people changing the meta. Yeah, exactly, Sergio. Shadow vs Shadow is annoying. Falcon, nightmare. Yeah, I want to make myself a nightmare for people like Yonkus. That's what I... You're probably running the NAIC team back. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yonkus use a real team challenge. Okay, I want to bait out a Lantern here. And the reason I want to bait this out is because of this. I'm going to show you something that I think is so funny, right? Well, I need them to throw Thunderbolt. But they're probably going to surf here, which is annoying because then I have to throw another attack. I might have to throw another attack anyway. Yeah. That was a critical hit, Pup. Yeah, I agree. Okay, this is the issue, is I've got to take on their backline with myself. This was a mistake. Oh. I don't think they needed a top left there. Right? They didn't need to top left there. They had wing cons. They had 2 shields. And I didn't catch the Scald, so... Scald Blizzard? Yeah. That would have been funny if it was Scald Blizzard. They had better things to do than sit through my nonsense, that's fair. Okay, but for anyone wondering, that's the reason I'm running Dynamic Punch for that specific matchup, is to catch Lantern safe swap out. Lantern counter swap out. So I'm trying to bait out the Lantern with the Poliwrath so that Azu is free, and I'm giving Poliwrath a chance to actually beat the Lantern as well. Yeah, YOLO Gamer, I completely agree. He had 2 shields. He could have done it. He had play. The Azu would get shields down, maybe. The Lickitung has a lot of energy. Skarmory was dry. I still think there was play. That was a Spring Cup poly. No, I don't know. I don't play Spring Cup. Lantern is still being used. Yes, Water Gun Lantern mostly, but the occasional Spark Lantern. Is anyone going to be playing locals next week / the week after when they restart in July? I saw that we have our first Play Pokemon event announced in game, which is pretty cool. I wonder if I shield another Hurricane, I can force shields her. The first Toronto one's on the 6th? Yeah, well, have you got your teams ready? What's the play, team? Okay, I really need to hope Poliwrath can sweep this. I'm actually going to come in now and just start farming down. This is the thing. If I had Scald, you're so done. You're so done if I had Scald. Oh, annoying. 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 I should hydrate. Thank you. What Pokemon are we thinking for locals? If only... Very good. Very good. Okay, our whole team is good into Whiscash. And we've got to remember that Whiscash are often paired with Skarmory in the back. Is this Hikami? Are we playing Hikami now? We like Hikami. Okay, I reach 2 Playros before they reach enough Thunder Punches, so we're fine. This is less helpful though. We get the bubble at least. I'm gonna icy wind the Goodra later. I'm catching feelings from all the dealings. I might stray. What do you say? How are you feeling? Is it the same? I hope you're not planning to waste my time. To my surprise, that was her reply. Now we vibe. It's been a while and such a ride, the stars align. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. What would be really cool is if I could undercharge this perfectly to get a counter in as well. Oh, it's too much. That was too much. That's dumb now. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, balls. Stupid fruit, stupid fruit. Yeah, well, it's dumb. Is it ever possible to win a game going down a shield and switch? Yeah, it depends how big a bozo your opponent is, like me. She my do or die, my bona fide, my up when I'm down, she's always beside me. She makes me feel like I definitely just win that if I just don't undercharge, because one Thunder Punch won't take me out. So that was just super dumb. I didn't need to do that. But I am sweating. God, it's warm. Axon, what's the secret sauce for Worlds, please? Tell me. And is it normal for Alligator? That's what I want to know. Okay. I need to work out what I want to come in with after this matchup. I'm hoping that a Lickitung lead means Azu can have some play. Ooh, wait, did I just win CMP there? Because if I did, that's good information to have. I did. Very good. Very useful information. Axum, why did you disappear when I asked you what your world team was? That was a pretty reasonable question. Okay, I don't really care if they catch this. I kind of want alignment a little bit, ideally. Sergio, what's your world's team? Also, if they're not running Dynamic Punch, then my Poliwrath wins the mirror against this as well, which is pretty cool. You wish you knew. Your team's triple weak to Azu? This is not the meta to be triple weak to Azu. I mean, I really hope my Poliwrath can sweep what's in the back. Are you gonna let me? I don't understand why they stayed in with Poliwrath against Azu. That was confusing. I didn't expect that to be in the back. Oh well. Pisage, how you doing? How you doing? 4 sets, 170 points. 170? That's very good. I'm actually sweating now. Like I'm... Jeez. Jeez. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I like Altaria teams that are paired with Steel in the back because then Poliwrath is fine. So the plan is you soft lose the lead. Oh, I didn't mean to CMP. This is silly. Okay, anyone who's playing Lickitung versus Altaria, you want to throw your attack before they reach their Moonblast, because if they reach their Moonblast and they debuff you, that's super annoying. Obviously, if they throw Sky Attack, that's fine. But if you let yourself get debuffed, or the risk of debuffed, then that's kind of annoying. By the way, also, Sky Attack is the right play. If you want to win the zeros with an Altaria, you just go 2 times Sky Attack. What I want to know is, I want to know what teams people are thinking of running in the locals that start in July. What are we thinking? I'm expecting a huge number of Feraligatr. I'm expecting a huge number. Does he know? Does he know? I didn't even get an excellent. Brilliant. Damn, how does he know? Sounds like I want to do show 6. I want to talk about show 6. I don't know if I want to play show 6. I feel too hot to play anything at the moment. Shouldn't have worn this. I should have worn a baggier t-shirt as well. Ha 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 ha. I'm sorry, my sweet, sweet Empoleon. I love you, but not today. Okay, thoughts? Do we like the idea of Shadow Empoleon being number 1 on the PvPoke rankings? Because that's also very easy to do. If you, with a couple of adjustments, that's very easy to do. But do we want that? What? Ref! That's outrageous. Oh, Rare XL? Nice. Which league? Well, I was thinking Great League, but Ultra League's going to be very similar, right? By the way, can I just say I do actually think this team's genius. I think you can climb with this team at the moment. And I say that on the caveat of maybe for like a day or two, and then when people clock it, then you have to change again. Yeah, well, Sergio, it would become super spammy if you... So my proposal would be make Metal Claw a Powder Snow buff. Powder Snow clone, sorry. Buff Metal Claw to become a Powder Snow clone. And Shadow Empoleon then gets 5/5 pacing. And I think that that's how you make an Empoleon meta. You don't hate that either? Yeah, because I think Steel Water Flying is fine. I think it's fine. Okay, for anyone wondering what Lickitung they want to build, you want to build one with reasonably high defense because Shadow Gligar can reach breakpoints against you. And the higher the defense, just the less chance there is that they get that. They have to just go to higher and higher attack. What day is it today? How long until the Totodile event? Ape safe swap in Azu meta. Oops. Well, honestly, I don't think. I don't know. In the high. Interesting. Can someone remind me what their lead was, please? What was their lead? What was the lead? Gligar. We're gonna try and Licky Sweep. We're now not going to try and Licky Sweep, now we're going to Poly Sweep. IVs matter. Yeah, if you are thinking of running a Poliwrath, normal Poliwrath, as high bulk as you can. High bulk. But thank you to both of you guys for reminding me about their lead, because it's hard to remember when I'm trying to look at lots of things at once, and also not sweat mountains. I'm actually not. I'm a little bit sweaty. Sorry. Azza, how you doing? How's your Wednesday going? How's your Wednesday going? Sanya Digo, are you going to tell us your secret sauce for worlds? Give us some inspiration. What was I going to run up say about Ape Say Swap? Oh, in the high elo at the moment, people are running Wiggly. So you've got to be careful about Wiggly, is what I would say. Hydrate, I will do, thank you. I'm going to save swap the Poliwrath here to see if there's a Lantern. The reason I've opted for a CMP is because if I throw a Dynamic Punch first, there's a chance that they will try and surf bait me constantly. Whereas if I try and CMP, there's a chance that they throw in Thunderbolt straight away. That's what I'm hoping for here. If they throw Thunderbolt straight away, that's better for me. And now I'm just going to full farm down, because I'm going to have to shield this anyway. And I'd rather get lots of Icy Winds off against that Clodsire in the way back. I know I'm going 2 shields down, and I know that's not usually what I'd like, but we'll see. Ideally, we CMP on the next one. Because I want them to waste their energy, right? I don't want them to overfarm, so I'm trying to CMP on the Stone Edge so that they get rid of all of their energy and they're super debuffed. And then I've got to work out what's in the back. Okay, well, I'm going to get out of this. Cool. This is good. Okay, we have to just rely on chip it as much as we can, then get Azu in. And I think then we should be okay even with their shields. Because they don't want to use shields on their Mandibuzz to a Lickitung, right? And so what we need to do is we need to make them think that there's something that they need to save their shields for. We just chip. 3, 4. I can bubble Clod down. Yeah, I'm gonna bubble Clod down for sure. Did I catch up on the lost sets from Monday's stream? Yeah, I climbed 200 points yesterday. Because I played on my other phone. Should we try a silly attempt at a catch? Actually, it might be sensible to not do that. Joking, it's too funny. I don't need to show the Azu yet. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious, what a long game. You saw the timer coming. They took a while to leave, yeah. Bobbert, how you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in, how you doing? I'm legitimately cooking. Trying to blow cold air at myself. Oh, jeez. Fresh cut? I actually haven't had a haircut in a while. I actually haven't. My hair's actually getting a bit long. But I'm goodness gracious. You've had difficulty climbing? Can't find a team that has worked for you. What I would say, look, at this stage of the season, is find something that you like using. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Find one Pokemon that you like using that has play, and see if you can build something interesting or fun around that for a little bit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually hovered my thumb over the button, not meaning to press it, and I just slipped and pressed it. Silly. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A/lead, decreasing lantern back. Yeah, I know. I think that water seems to be super popular at the moment. So you could consider some teams that are stronger into water if you can. Skeledirge would be very bad. You're using Zone, Victory Bell, and Azu. For Alligator at the back? Oh god, I hope so. Charger, Licky Core? I mean, Azu? I need to get the switch clock up and then get into Poliwrath. I'm hoping that they have a water in the back, so I'm going to sack the Azu here. I'm hoping they have a water in the back, because lots of people might play Ice Double Water. So I'm hoping Water Gun. I'm hoping Water Gun Lantern. That would be the dream. This is the opposite of the dream. This is not the dream. This is very bad, and I shall leave. Yeah, we called it. We knew it was water, but just really, really, really not the water we wanted. Also, if you are considering Cresselia at the moment, there is genuinely good reason to go back to Future Sight now. There is genuinely very good reason to go back to Future Sight, and if you pair Cresselia with Azumarill, and Azumarill is your fairy coverage, then you don't need the fairy coverage as much on the Cresselia. So I would consider Cresselia, and if you've got a choice of Cresselia, I would consider high HP Cresselia, personally. That's what I would do. I am melting. I am actually melting. Yeah, it is sad that they didn't bring Mantine onto Azu. It is. I agree. It's sad. Oh. Yeah, keep trading for Cress. Keep trading for Cress. I mean, I'm gonna keep trading for Cress, and I've got some good ones, but you just keep trading them. Okay. Oh, this is going to be uncomfortable because that Talon has a lot of energy. I maybe should have thrown my power. Oh, balls. Oh, I've messed this up. Bruh. I've messed this up, you can try it for a day. You can probably try it for a day, yeah. But I'll likely change my team after a day or two. How do I decide when the team is the issue? That's a good question, actually. There is quite literally nothing that I can beat at this point, but I want to see what their team is. God damn it. I could have actually beaten that if I played better. Well, for example here, I looked at their team, I've looked at my team, there were plenty of win conditions in that for me, I just didn't play that very well. And so, in my mind, that's not a team issue. I shouldn't be changing my team because of what happened in that game. I could have won that game. I think one thing I could have done is CMP on the Brave Bird with Lickitung, because after they've thrown 5 Incinerates, you know they have to throw their attack, so you can throw an alignment there. And even if you no shield and take a Brave Bird, you get CMP, you get your shield back. So that's what I should have done. I didn't really need to catch on the Azu. If I'd done that, there's a chance I can take Switch. If I take Switch, I win. I think. Maybe. 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 No. Superior's not. Superior's not popular. Superior's very rarely seen. I'm trying to work out how I'm supposed to beat this Poliwrath. Oh wait, I know how I'm gonna beat it. It's okay. It's okay, it's okay. I kind of want them to shield this. I want them to play for Switch. Yes! Now we're going to get a big sweep. Poliwrath is now going to sweep their whole team, is what I'm saying. Are you allowed to link Dracoviz? Yes, very meticulous. Yes, link it and I'll explain to you what I think you're looking at. I'll explain. I'll actually, after this battle, I'll open it. Yeah, if you want to send the Dracoviz link, I'll open it right now, and I'll show you what I think you're looking at. It's just Dracoviz.com. Yeah, fair point. It is just Dracoviz.com. Right, come over here, everyone. Let's go have a look. I think you're looking at... Okay, come here. Welcome in. Okay, so this is the Dracoviz site. Dracoviz is a community-based website that is run by a number of individuals to try and help keep track of the Play Pokemon circuit and what's going on. And if you scroll down to qualified teams, very meticulous, you are absolutely spot on that there are a list of teams here. And you're probably noticing that we can see a number of Superior here. All the way down there are Superior. What I want to highlight to you is that these qualified teams aren't the top teams. They are actually instead chronological order of the first winners of the event this year. Okay, so the first event of the season was Pittsburgh. That was won by Wadaj, and this is the team that he used. Barcelona, which I played in, was won by Zizwilis. This was the team that he used. And these are all of the events in order from the beginning of the year, and these are the winners that are listed. If we go down to number 4, you can see our good friend Colin winning Bologna here. So all qualified teams actually is who are the players that have won tournaments to get to Worlds. These are just the winners. They're not every team that has actually qualified for Worlds. You can actually find that on the Play Pokemon website if you correctly type it. No, yep, this one. If you were to type in here, the global leaderboards, everyone who has a score of 500 and actually, depends on the region. For the US, it's 500. For EU, it's 400, etc. There are some different targets, but if we were to go to page 5, for example, I can see that Zephy Mastix has 584 points. I know that he's a European player, right? It says right there that he's German. He only needs 400 points, and that one, that means that he's qualified, for example. Dracoviz, on the other hand, here, it's only showing you event winners. If you want to see with the current meta, it's actually better to start from the bottom than from the top. And so if you were to go to page 4, you would see that Colin 6 won Bologna with this team. The caveat to that is if you click on the Bologna event, you will see that the date for Bologna was 1st to the 2nd of June. The meta has actually changed since then. The meta actually changed on the 3rd of June. The day after Bologna, we had a new meta come in. The meta changes that we had can be seen on the Pokemon website. And I'll show you where. If you were to go onto the Pokemon website and you were to scroll down on the news tab to the Go Battle League Shared Skies update, that is the GBL season for this current season, and you can see that the move changes, the attack adjustments are listed. Scroll. Here. They took effect on Monday the 3rd of June. So this happened after Bologna. And these were the changes that happened. We had a Scald nerf, we had a Spark nerf, we had a Seed Bomb adjustment. It's actually this is just a buff. Seed Bomb buff, Swift buff, and then lots of different Pokemon were given attacks. The key things to note are these two. These are the two key changes that happened last season. And these two changes, if we look at the Bologna top teams, yo, who's that? If we look at the Bologna top teams, you can see Shadow Whiscash is here, and you can see Lantern is here. Shadow Whiscash runs Scald, and Lantern runs Spark. Those were the two Pokemon that were targeted for this meta update. So these two Pokemon have been nerfed since this team. So this team here, it's still very playable, it's still very good, but Shadow Whiscash is not as good as it was. Similarly, Lantern here is not the same as it was because Spark got nerfed. Now you're more likely to see Lantern run Water Gun rather than Spark. And I expect you will see a lot of that at Worlds. We'll see a lot of Water Gun Lantern at Worlds. So use these teams as a template only to a limited extent. Okay, the Scald nerf, it was to reduce the debuff chance of Scald from 50% to 30%. Okay, you can visualize how much of an impact that has. Water Gun Lantern, change from Spark to Water Gun is a much bigger change. Arrow did run Water Gun Lantern before it was cool, but honestly, Water Gun Lantern has always been good. The only reason why Water Gun Lantern isn't more popular is because of the presence of Spark Lantern. Now that Spark has been nerfed, Water Gun Lantern is very good. It's actually very good into the meta. The one Pokemon that it's not very good at against is Altaria, of which you can see loads here. But actually we've seen a huge rise recently in Azumarill. And so if you want a more accurate reflection, everyone, if you want a more accurate reflection of what the meta is currently like, I would recommend going to June on Play Pokemon and scrolling to the Pokemon Go North America International Championships 2024. And if you scroll to this chart here, I'll try and zoom in. This chart here, not that much. This is the most accurate reflection of the current meta right now. Worlds is in August. It is the second weekend of August, I think. Or maybe the third. It's the 18th of August, so maybe the third. 16th to 18th of August. That sounds about right. In Hawaii. And this is the latest information for the meta. What we've seen here is that there's a huge number of Charger Bug in Top Cut. There are actually 8 out of 8 Charger Bug here in Top Cut. But we also saw quite a big rise in Azumarill. You can see 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and then you can see lots throughout if you go through this. I'm going to actually link this page. I'm actually going to send this to you here, so if anyone in chat needs this page, that's the link I'm on right now. If you scroll down, you'll be able to get this chart. It can give you some inspiration for some teams that you can run at locals when they start up next month. So let me know if you've got any other questions on Worlds. I'm going to quickly check to see if I've got another set. I don't even know if I do. I can't remember how many I played. Did anyone catch a shiny Morlul yesterday? I'm actually going to put a poll up. You tell me via poll. So yesterday, if anyone has forgotten already, was Morlul Spotlight Hour. Okay, there's a poll going up. I want to know, did you get a shiny Morlul either yesterday or beforehand? Respond in the poll. Let me know if you got a shiny Morlul, because I saw some people were looking for it. I saw some people were very sad that they didn't get it, and some people were very happy that they did. I would be interested to just see how many of you made the effort and or got very lucky. I will admit I got very lucky. I didn't do the Spotlight Hour. I think I was eating pasta, and that distracted me, which you can understand. Let's go back and do some GBL. You got 3? Jeez. Goodness gracious. Actually so warm. Okay, Whiscash, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 to 5 shinies, around 500k Stardust. Awesome. We love these events, right? We love events where we get lots of dust. Global Go Fest, not too far away. It should be a good event. Oh, I was so close to pressing it. You went 10-5? Awesome. I'm very happy for you. I think it's a fun team. I think Dynamic Punch Poly might not have as much play in Show 6 before you rush to it, but I do think it has a lot of play in GBL where it's a blind format. Your opponents don't know that you've got access to it. You can catch quite a few teams out. You can catch Feraligatr out, you can catch Lantern out. As we saw when we battled Yonkers, we caught Registeel out, so I do like the team a lot. It is fun. I also very much recommend Hydro Pump Azu with this team because you don't have the water coverage on the Poliwrath, so you're making up for that with you're making up for that with is there a Skarmory in the back? Even better. Okay, big win. And Basti coverage, yeah. It's if you do need to. Basically, my Poliwrath and my Azu are both safe swaps depending on the team that I'm up against, right? And you've seen that there are teams where I safe swap Azu and they bring in the Basti and then we Hydro Pump it. There are teams that we safe swap Poliwrath and they counter swap Lantern and then we dynamic punch it. So that's kind of the idea behind this team. Mid 2400s, awesome, awesome. Hopefully veteran tomorrow then. How do I decide when to shield versus when to give up switch? Good question. Let's play this game out and see if I can use this game as an example. Sometimes you have to think about how important alignment is to you. Here, alignment's not that important to me. I think I can hit most things with all of my Pokemon. Should we try and catch an attack? I'm just... I don't mean it. I didn't even mean to. It's just too easy. Now I'm hoping they bring in a steal. Counter is Legacy. Sorry, yeah, counter is Legacy. So Registeals are popping up because people are using Azu Safe Swap, because people are using Cresselia and Lickitung and all of these things. So it does make sense. Yeah, I needed to just get rid of that Registeel energy. It was a bit too much energy for my liking. How common do I think Talonflame will be at Worlds? Not common. Although, I was speaking to... Who was it? I think Arceus Aurelius thinks Talonflame has the potential to win Worlds. We're going to go for 3 body slams here. Uh-oh. I've forgotten their energy. Oh, I'm an idiot. I've forgotten their energy. Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going to try and catch after that one because I can't remember exactly what they were on. Ay, ay, ay! Shomez, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. How was your stream? Hope you had a good stream. Welcome in. This feels like I'm in a sauna right now. But Talon is tricky. Who's asking about Talonflame? Let me explain why. Who asked about Talonflame? Bobbert, Talonflame. Okay, reason why Talonflame's a little bit tricky is because we're expecting high Azu usage, we're expecting high Feraligatr usage, we're expecting high Watergun Lantern usage, we're expecting Quagsire. Whiscash isn't gone, but I think Quagsire is the best mud boy at the moment, Shadow Quag in particular. it's not an easy environment for Talonflame. There aren't as many targets for Talonflame as there have been in the past, particularly with people running Poliwrath, with people running Vigoroth. It's just not super friendly for Talonflame, which is why I think it'll be a little bit difficult. Flame Charge and Fly, or Brave Bird and Fly. If I were running Talonflame, it would be Brave Bird and Fly. Because I think that if you're using Talonflame, the reason you're using it is actually for its flying coverage, not for its fire coverage. I'm very worried I'm going to get Sludge Bombed here. I'm going to shield the first one just in case. Okay, it's a Shadow Ball. That's better. This should now then play out the same way that, ideally, the same way that an Ape matchup plays out. Yeah, if you want fire for pure fire damage, you go for Skeledirge. Or, I mean, Typhlosion as well. They have slightly different coverage and slightly different defensive options. Please don't also have Sludge Bomb. Okay, good. The thing about Talonflame is you're resisting counter, and for me, if you're going to use flying coverage, go for it. Like, go for the flyer. Oh no, they're going to Mud Bomb me. And I don't know, I haven't been counting their energy at all. What you saying? What you saying? Gator and Croak. Altaria isn't the best for it, true. Although I'm interested to see how many Altaria there are. I don't know if there'll be too many. Just bait them out with Heatran Kali special? That is not a bad shout. I think great against Shadow Basti. Do you want me to tell me? Do you want me to bring Shadow Basti? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bank this Dynamic Punch just in case I need to come in later with it. I shouldn't need it, but just in case. Shadow Basti, Dirge and Talon with Fly, Brave Bird, the same fire coverage. No. What I'm trying to say is that if you're using Talonflame, you want to take the most advantage you can of its flying coverage. Wait, I'm not going to reach another power, am I? No, I should be fine. And it's flying defensive typing. The defensive... Okay, we're cool. So, yeah, okay. I'm just so sweaty. Skeledirge, I think, is very good. I think Skeledirge is very good. The problem with Skeledirge at the moment is that I think that Licky is coming back, and that can be a bit weird for Skeledirge. I think that... What else do I think? Honestly, I actually don't know if fire is the right play. I'm not convinced by fire at the moment. I think fire is actually hard. The more I think about building a team, I'm not seeing many targets for fire. Skarmory, yes, but you're actually better off hitting that with a Lantern or with an electric than you are with a fire in this meta. Skeledirge is nice because it has perfect coverage, right? Disarming Voice, Shadow Ball is perfect coverage. Okay, if it's Basti in the back, Azu should be fine. I'm hoping. I'm checking my switch clock so they can catch now. I'm throwing my Hydro Pump straight away because I actually take away their switch advantage in terms of time. We got the shield, that's good. Mateus, thoughts on Toxapex? Mateus, honestly, I think it could be a shout. I genuinely think it could be a shout. You've just got to protect it really well. We should win CMP. And then Licky's going to sweep in the backline. That's the plan. That's the plan. I think Toxapex could be a shout. Isn't it better to throw the Icy Wind versus... Okay. Isn't it better to wait to throw the Icy Wind? Yes, you are right. You are right. I should... optimally, I would wait to throw the Icy Wind so that they get fewer Razor Leafs. You are right. You are right. You're spot on. It walls Toxapex walls Poliwrath. It has better play into Lantern that's running Water Gun. It absolutely murders Azumarill. Good versus the fighter, the fires. Good versus the fighters as well. But very bad versus Steel. Very bad versus Mudboy. So you do have to be a little bit careful with Toxapex. But I think if you can build the right team around it and protect it, then it has play. And also, with these kinds of Pokemon, it can be a really good bench pressure Pokemon. It can be a really good bench pressure Pokemon. Oh yeah, I say fighters, but actually Annihilape is not included in that. Annihilape will beat Toxapex because it resists the poison damage. Okay, against Chargebug with a Lickitung, you need to be throwing your body slams at the right time. Otherwise, you give Chargebug a chance to win. You shouldn't be throwing Discharge. You shouldn't be throwing Discharge as a Chargebug. You should be throwing X-Scissor. It's way more efficient. Into a Lickitung, into a neutral matchup, you should be throwing X-Scissor. Azu with Hydro Cannon. Azu with Hydro Pump is what I'd run with this team, yeah. This was a little mistake by me, but it didn't actually mean that. I wasn't paying attention. I'm glad I did. Actually, it doesn't make a difference. Poliwrath also can beat this with even shields. But I would love to see a Steel in the back. Interesting, interesting. Imagine if Azu got Hydro Cannon. Imagine if Azu got Icy Wind. That would be disgusting. That would be disgusting. They're going to shield this because it makes sense to shield this. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. I do think... Is there a good reason? Is there a good reason why someone shouldn't throw on alignment? There are... Okay, I'm going to tell you quickly. Oh, I've finished my battles anyway, I'll tell you now. Wait, let's just collect these while I'm on a star piece and then I'll tell you. Okay, we end at 2650, so we've gained 100 points today, so that's pretty good. Especially considering I make stupid mistakes on stream that I shouldn't obviously do. Just checking I don't have another set. Cool. Okay, let me tell you. Oh, while I wipe the sweat off myself. Okay, so you've probably heard the expression optimal move timing. And what that means is throwing your attacks at a time in which you give your opponent as little energy for free as possible. The reason you get energy for free at all is because if you throw on alignment, i.e. at the end of at the same ending of fast attacks, right? If you throw on alignment where both your fast attacks finish at the same time, your opponent is allowed another fast attack, and so they get all of the energy from their fast attack that we call it sneak. It's not really sneaking, that's how the game should work. They get all of that energy. Move timing, right? The timing of when to throw your charged attack comes into play where you have move durations for your fast attack, different move durations, i.e. a 2-turn attack versus a 3-turn attack, and any other different combination. That's when move timing is relevant. And what you are trying to do is minimize how much free energy they get from the rest of their fast attack going through. Example. I'm actually going to use PV Poke to help illustrate this, because I appreciate that some people are more visual learners as well. So come and look at this in a second. Okay, come over here. Right, what we've got here is a Whiscash versus an Umbreon. Now, Mudshot, you can see here, that there are lots of little Mudshots going through. Mudshot we know is a 2-turn attack. If you don't know that Mudshot is a 2-turn attack, go on to PV Poke, go and click this menu here, click Moves, and I want you to go through these fast attacks, and if you click on the T and filter by turn, you can see the duration of every fast attack in the game. Okay, you don't need to learn every single one, but I would recommend you learn all of the fast attacks that we see most commonly in Show 6 and that you see in GBL, because you need to know what to expect from a Pokemon when it comes in. How long does their turn take? If you don't know that Incinerate is 5 turns, you're not going to be ever able to throw an optimal timing. You're just not going to be able to. Mudshot, 2-turn fast attack, and Snarl, 3-turn fast attack. So what this means, a turn is a half second. Sorry, half a turn. Sorry. A turn is a half second, so 3 turns is 1.5 seconds. 2 turns is 1 second. Every half second is a turn in Pokemon Go. And that can get a bit confusing and it can be a little bit tricky to keep track. But what we're basically meaning, the reason why lots of people love 2-turn attacks is because you count in seconds. Every 2 turns is 1 second. Any musicians amongst you are going to have a great time, because all you have to do is count in seconds, and I know you guys can keep the beat. So that's how I do it. I'm not a particularly high-level musician, but the way that I count is I'm counting as soon as the game starts. In my head, I'll be going and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and so on and so on and so on. And that's how I count. You can count the animations, you can count the sound if you're listening, you can count your health bar go down. There are lots of different ways you can count. You can count using a combination of them. I personally prefer to count my opponent's attacks rather than my own. Some people count their own attacks and use it as a barometer for how much energy their opponent has. You've got to be a bit careful with that, and the reason is because if your opponent switches out, you might not be paying full attention to when they switch out, and you might miss how much energy they were on. So just be mindful of that, right? It's perfectly fine to count your own attacks. Wholesome, one of the best of the best, he counts his own attacks, but just be mindful of that if you're not fully paying attention to your opponent, you might miss what energy they were on. You also, if you're counting your own attacks, you might miss where they pause, you might miss where they're not throwing attacks perfectly. You need to pay attention to the game. The game's not perfect by any means. There are times where they might lag slightly, there are times where you might lag slightly, there are times where they might pause and switch, there are times where they just might not throw their fast attacks at the same pace that they should be, and that's also another reason why you need to pay attention to what your opponent's doing regardless of how you're counting. Game visuals aren't fully trusty. Game sounds, I don't know. Game visuals definitely aren't trusty. I actually remember when I went through the Bologna recap, I played a game against Young Cass, and I no-shielded a Stone Edge because I had not seen one of the mud shots go through, and I watched the replay, and that mud shot never went through visually. It just didn't there, and I was trying to follow the visuals, and it wasn't. It was a risk, and it almost cost me a game. Right, it almost cost me a game. Anyway, what I want to highlight about optimal timing is you want to throw your attack at a point in which your opponent gets the least amount of energy for free through. So if you click on sandbox mode, you can actually see the opportunities to throw attacks. So here, after 5 snarls, snarl is a 3-turn attack, and snarl after 5 snarls, you're at 15, which means if you were to throw at 14 from your 2-turn attack, you're only giving them 1 turn free energy. If you are giving them 1 turn of free energy, you've done well. Well done. That's the most optimal you can ever throw, giving them 1 turn of free energy in a neutral, like, sandbox situation. So 7 times 2 is 14, so you can throw after 7 mud shots to get your first charge attack from a 2-turn throw. And if you think about it, if you think about all the increments of 3, you've got 3, you've got 6, you've got 9. So that means you want to be throwing, if you've got a 2-turn attack on after, so 3, 6, I should say 15, right, is when you can throw after 14. So if you go 12 and you bring it down, you realize that 12 is a bit weird because 1 under 12 is 11. But you can't throw on 11 as a 2-turn attack. So actually, if you throw on 10, you're giving them 2 free turns. So that's why that one's not optimal to throw after 5. But if you think about 9, 1 less than 9 is 8. 8 is divisible by 2, so you can throw after 4. So what we generally remember in Go is you throw after 1, after 4, and after 7. If you are a 2-turn, if they are a 3-turn, you throw after 1, 4, or 7. I want to tell you 2 things. 2 things. First thing, assume your opponent knows about move timing. And don't just throw at 4 because you hit 4. When you hit 4, make sure you see their fast attack coming through and then throw. The number of times that I have caught an attack, I stop tapping, I wait for my opponent to get to 4, my opponent goes, I've always been told to throw on 4, so I just throw on 4, but they weren't paying attention to the fact that I'd stopped tapping. I then wait for them to hit 4 and I switch out and I catch it. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you, because that's really annoying. And I know you don't want your attacks to get caught, so if you can, wait until you see the charge attack wait until you see the fast attack from your opponent come through. I appreciate that if there's lag in the game, it's tricky to do. I totally get that. So if you're like, look, I don't want to risk it because I don't want to risk pausing and then there being a visual lag and loads of energy coming through, I totally get that. But if you're ever at competition level, you cannot let attacks get caught if you want to get to the very top. It becomes very hard if you are letting your opponent catch your attacks. You configure your counts when you reach your move, I guess. Yeah, like you can say, oh, I'm at 10 turns after I reach my Hydro Cannon or my Swampert. Sure, but this is the thing. What happens when you're moving around? right? You see me switching throughout a game and things, right? It's very difficult if you've not. What happens if you don't reach the hydro cannon and then someone switches? You weren't paying attention until you reach it afterwards. So just be careful about that. If you can count, it's just a very good way to improve at the game. If you can't count, then that's something that you can work on to improve. It's not that it gets at the same rate. I think what they're saying is that you know the pace at which you get to your own fast attacks, and I think that the approach that that you were talking about, Ayla, was that you were just recording yourself and then transposing that to your opponent. It's not the ideal way to count, and practice makes permanent, right? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Whatever you practice, you're going to become very good at doing what you practice. If you practice something that isn't optimal, you'll become very good at doing something that isn't optimal. So I would recommend, if you can, to learn your counts. Learn them properly and start counting them properly. I know it can be discouraging, but you will improve if you know your opponent's energy and if you know exactly how much energy they're on and when you need to throw. The other thing that I wanted to say about move timing, and there are videos available in YouTube videos you can watch that can go into more detail on move timing, right? But other than throwing on 1 or 4 or 7, generally speaking, optimal move timing isn't just about minimizing the energy that your opponent gets. That's not the only purpose of optimal timing, all right? The whole point of optimal timing is maximizing your win conditions. Generally speaking, that comes in the form of reducing the amount of energy your opponent can get. But sometimes there are situations where you want to throw on what we would otherwise call unoptimal timing, because there's another reason why it's optimal, and that reason outweighs normal optimal move timing. To be specific, if you are an Umbreon into a Whiscash, you would typically not want to throw after 4 on the basis that 4 times 3 is 12. 12 is an increment of 2, which means that's an alignment. They will get a free mud shot through. So generally speaking, a 3-turn attack will throw after 5 rather than 4. However, Scald can debuff you. And especially when Scald was at 50% debuff chance, if your opponent throws after 7 and you wait for 5, they have a chance of debuffing you before your first foul play. So there were players that were opting instead to throw an unoptimal move timing after 4 to get their foul play before the Scald comes through. Now you can rightly say, oh, hold on a minute, the Whiscash could also throw on 6, which is also alignment. They can. They can do that. And if they get it right and they CMP tie, then they're in a good position. But if they get it wrong, you get 13 free energy through with your Snarl. So it is risky for your opponent to throw after 6. And there are lots of other situations where you want to throw not on optimal timing. Not on optimal timing, because you don't want your opponent to reach an attack, and that might force you to shield. So there's some scenarios there in the games that we saw in my GBL where I was throwing a play rough from Azu on unoptimal timing because I was like, it's more important that I get my attack through than I mitigate their energy. It was more important to me that I get my attack through, and the reason was because I didn't want to shield Azu again. I really didn't want to shield Azu again, and if I risked going for optimal timing, they might throw an attack, and I might be forced to shield if I want to use my energy. And I didn't want that. I was like, I'm just going to get rid of my energy now. They can take the extra fast attack energy. I'm going to throw an unoptimal timing because it's more important to me that I get this attack off, and I save my shield for something more important in the back. So I just want you to think about those 3 things. Optimal timing, go and learn exactly how to do it. Go and learn when the best times to throw are, and practice it. Second thing is make sure that even if you're throwing on optimal timing, you pay attention to your opponent. Because if they pause, you are giving them an opportunity to catch. There have been times where I am using Incinerate, and I just pause and I wait, and my opponent does 2 mud shots, and I just switch out. And they weren't paying attention to the fact I didn't throw an Incinerate. Which is crazy. You have to be paying attention. You have to be paying attention, because otherwise a lot of energy can just go to waste, and that can turn a game. And then the third thing is work out when not to throw on optimal timing. Is it more important for you to get your energy off? Is it more important for you to disrupt the switch clock? There are lots of different situations. You're not going to be able to learn them all just from me describing the situation, but in future, if you're watching a stream and you see someone throw on suboptimal timing, don't just assume that they don't know their timing. Have a think. Is there a reason that they threw on suboptimal timing? And is that a reason that you can learn from as well when you play? And I think if you do that, like, you will see yourself in, like, you will use strategies that can really throw off your opponent, right? If you make it really difficult for your opponent to catch, you'll become a better player. If you avoid your opponent catching, you'll become a better player. So learn these things. Sometimes, all the time, the Incinerate other fast moves animation is just decent. I completely agree with you. In GBL, there are situations where you just can't trust. You can't trust the animation. And like I say, if you're experiencing a lot of lag, if it's just a little bit stuttery for you and you don't want to risk it, I totally understand you not worrying so much about avoiding catches and things. I totally get it, because the last thing you want to do is pause for ages and an entire Incinerate comes through and you didn't even clock that it was happening. So I totally get that, and I sympathise with that. I'm just hopeful that they improve the game so that we are able to try and utilise these high level plays, because I would love to see them. When I ideally, in my world, when I ideally transition to full-time casting, I want to watch you guys. I want to watch you guys at regionals pulling off insane plays, right? That's what we want to see. That's what the casters want to see. That's what the viewers want to see. And the better that the game is, I feel like obviously the more opportunity there is for people to do that. You use Android, and yeah, Android's tough. If you have both, then I'd definitely recommend iPhone at the moment. HVK, how you doing? Welcome in. I am well, thank you. My voice is slowly getting tired, and the armpits of my shirt aren't grateful for me at the moment. So I've probably not got much time left. So if anyone wants to have a quick look at who you'd like me to raid, then just let me know in chat, and we can raid them shortly. But I told you about team building. Can I please repeat? You need that knowledge. Team building for show 6. Free just trying to make it hard. Wholesome, do you remember when you used to use the exact same team every season, even when that team on paper was a pretty garbage team, and you would still just nail Legend every single season? I remember watching and keeping track of that, and I was like, holy, this guy's he's pretty sick. You sent me a DM on Discord? Okay, I will check it. I will check it. It might have gone to my my hidden messages, so I might have missed that. Sorry about that. I will check it. Team building. Tell you what, look, I don't want to go fully into something that I'm not going to have time to explain in detail. So if you come back on Friday, I will stream on Friday, and I'm happy to go through team building again. And I'll go through it in more detail than I can go through now. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, it might be all the. Is that the same trainer who hasn't changed their Master League team for years? The trainer that hasn't changed their Master League team for years is Thomas Young. He runs Mewtwo, Dialga, Kyogre every season. Every season he runs the exact same team. Yeah, Kyogre with Thunder. There are lots of teams that you can just. I mean, we all know that there are players that will just run Grasshole. Okay, very, very quickly, Maya, just for you. Generally speaking, in this meta right now, not post-Worlds. Post-Worlds, it might change. Every piece of advice I give you is up until the end of August. After that, in terms of the meta, not in terms of the meta, there might be more that changes afterwards. Everything that I tell you, I will refresh post-Worlds based on the changes that we might get, okay? For the meta right now, generally speaking, if you want a safe team, there is a good approach, which is fighter, anti-fighter, flyer, anti-flyer, steel, or something that resists charm, or something that's just very bulky, and then an anti-lantern or an anti-mud boy. A little bit of a tease there. I can't say anything. Generally those teams. So I'll go through those again. Fighter, for example, Annihilate, Poliwrath, Vigoroth. Anti-fighter, your Cresselia, your Azumarill, and or Skeledirge, or another flyer. If you're playing multiple flyer team, you can put one flyer into this role. Your flyers, your normal flyers, so your Shadow Gligar, Mantine, Altaria, Talonflame, these types of Pokemon. Sorry, my camera changes when it sees me put an L out. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me put me back. Okay, so your flyer, your anti-flyer. Anti-flyers can come in a couple of forms as well. Generally, it's either an electric or an ice. Charjabug has been the anti-flyer of choice recently. Very recently, Charjabug has been very, very popular. Steel. Steel can be, if you want another flyer, you can run your Skarmory, you can Shadow Bastiodon. Shadow Bastiodon, remember, can also operate as an anti-flyer. If you don't want to run a steel, you can run a fire in this role because fire resists charm. You can also run Lickitung in this role if you have coverage elsewhere, because Lickitung is very bulky and it can often deal with some of the dragons and some of the fairies. So you'll see lots of teams like that. And then generally in your final role, you'd go for something that has play into the Mud Boys and into Lantern. And I'm not going to just say that and not put any weight behind that. If we just look at a couple of these teams, I'm going to zoom in on a random team and I'm going to see if it fits the formula, okay? So I'll just zoom in. Where am I? Oh, I want to be up here. Let's go and look. Okay, I'm trying to highlight this team here from Adib Khan. Can you see that? I don't think I can zoom in much more. I'm trying. It's going a bit funky. Okay, we're looking at Adib's team. Okay, Bubble Wrapper we can do afterwards. We're looking at Adib's team at the moment. Bubble Wrapper is actually an interesting one. Okay, so Fighter is Annihilate. Anti-Fighter is your Azumarill. Your Flyer is your Shadow Gligar. Your anti-flyer is your Lantern, your steel is your Skarmory, and your anti-Mudboy/Lantern is your Lickitung. Okay, so you can see that it fits into all of the roles, that you're able to fit it into the roles. Sometimes you have to shoehorn a little bit, and sometimes you don't necessarily tick off all the roles perfectly because you cover it elsewhere. But this is actually a reasonably good example of a team that works, okay? Annihilate's the fighter, Azumarill's the anti-fighter, Shadow Gligar's the flyer, Lantern is an anti-flyer, Skarmory is your steel, and Lickitung is your anti-Mudboy. Bubble Wrapper, says Wholesome. Let's have a look at this. So Bubble Wrapper has Annihilate as the fighter. The anti-fighter is where it gets a little bit interesting here, because he doesn't have a pure anti-fighter like a Cresselia or an Azumarill. Instead, what he's opting for is a Shadow Feraligatr in a role that you'll watch how we now shoehorn things around a little bit, because it still does work. So, here, Fighter is Annihilate. The anti-fighter, you can say, is the Shadow Gligar. The flyer is your Skarmory. The anti-flyer is your Charjabug. You don't need another steel because your Skarmory was your steel, your flyer was your steel, so you can put your bulky Lickitung there instead, and then your anti-Mudboy is your Shadow Feraligatr. Now, because your anti-Mudboy is not also an anti-Lantern, you need to think, do I have coverage against Lantern with this team? And the answer is, you've got Charjabug, which is pretty good, right? Not perfect. You've got Shadow Gligar, which can be pretty good, not perfect. You've got Lickitung, which is pretty good. Annihilate has play as well, right? So you do have cover for Lantern, but honestly, you're not great into Lantern. So if I had Lantern, I would look at Bubble Wrapper's team and go, you don't have a really clean anti-Lantern. And so I would be using Lantern against Bubble Wrapper. So not only is it partly building a safe team for yourself, it's also useful in identifying what holes your opponent has in their team. So I would say this team's slightly softer to to Lantern. Zimmy Kid. Zimmy Kid had the most interesting team. Only team with a grass Pokemon and only team without a flyer. Let's go have a look at Zimmy Kid's team. Oh, it's just here. Sorry. Whoops. Okay. So Zimmy Kid is running Sirfetch'd as the fighter. Now, the anti-fighter is the Wigglytuff. There is no flyer. But what there is two things. What does a flyer achieve for you? A flyer achieves two things. One, a flyer has play into a fighter. And two, a flyer resists ground. Those are the two key things about a flyer. So when we're looking at his team, has he covered those weaknesses with other Pokemon? Because he doesn't have a flyer. So we've got fighter, anti-fighter. Does he have something else that resists fighting to cover what a flyer would? Yes, he does. He's got Skeledirge, ghost type. But does he have something that resists ground? Because Skeledirge doesn't resist ground. Yes, he does. He's got Abomasnow. So he's covered the role of a flyer with two different Pokemon. There are good things and bad things about that, right? His anti-flyer, we know, is the Lantern. He doesn't have a steel type, but he does have a fairy and a fire type, and they cover the things that a steel type would cover. A steel resists dragon and it resists fairy. Wigglytuff resists dragon and Skeledirge resists fairy. So he's covered his steel in a different way. And then his anti-lantern is his Guzzlord, but he's also got Abomasnow here. He's also got Sirfetch'd that runs Leaf Blade. So this team is really good against Lantern, and what that means is that Skeledirge has a little bit more freedom than it would if it were on Bubble Wrapper's team, right? Which is already weak to Lantern. Alejandro, how you doing, mate? Welcome in. So Zimmy has really protected the Skeledirge here. He doesn't have a flyer, so what things might benefit from an absence of a flyer? Well, firstly, you would say, does a fighter benefit? Let's think of who the fighters are. Who are the fighters? Annihilape. Okay, Annihilape's a bit dodgy into Skeledirge. Okay, Skeledirge on even shields, even energy will win. Annihilape is absolutely murdered by Wigglytuff. Annihilape is decent into Guzzlord, but actually Guzzlord can sponge Annihilape energy if it needs to. Annihilape's very good into Abomasnow, Annihilape's very good into Sirfetch'd, and it's neutral into Lantern. It's neutral into Lanterns. But you can see there's enough Annihilape coverage, even absent a flyer. What other flyers are there? What other fighters are there? OTX, welcome in. How you doing? Razspoon, you love Sirfetch'd? Yeah. I think Sirfetch'd is cool. Best team to run in Honolulu? No, we haven't done that. Okay, I'll do Trip's team afterwards, Snipe Mike. I'll do Trip's team afterwards. We'll have a look at it. Okay, so what else from a flyer? Sorry, the other fighters. Poliwrath. Okay, Poliwrath has play into Skeledirge, but Skeledirge has play into Poliwrath. Wigglytuff is very good into Poliwrath. Guzzlord's not good. Abomasnow's not good, though it can hit back. Sirfetch'd is actually fine, right? Because you have the access to the Leaf Blade that you pace quicker. So Sirfetch'd has play and Lantern has play. So you've got coverage for Poliwrath. And then you look at Vigoroth. Skeledirge is pretty decent. Wigglytuff has play. Vigoroth also has play. Guzzlord isn't great. Abomasnow isn't great. Sirfetch'd very, very good. And Lantern has play. So at Vigoroth, he's slightly soft too. But if you think about it, Vigoroth also has play into a lot of the flyers. So that Vigoroth softness isn't necessarily because he doesn't have a flyer. That's just because Vigoroth is very safe into anything that doesn't have an Annihilate. What about grasses? Grasses are the other things that flyers cover, but they're not super popular. So I can understand why you might not think, oh, I need flyer for grass, because you don't see many. But do we have coverage for grass? Yes, we frickin' do. We've got Skeledirge, we've got Guzzlord, and we've got Abomasnow. All super, super strong against grass. So the main things that flying is helpful for, Zimmy has covered them in different ways. And it's helpful for you to understand the basic team building template that I'm trying to tell you about, because then you can identify, when you see that there's no flyer, what was the purpose of the flyer, and how has he adapted for that. Let's go to Trip's team. Sniper Mike mentions Triptando's team. Triptando is... Oh, just again, the one above it. Okay, so Trip doesn't have a fighter. So again, what does a fighter achieve? A fighter gives you very good coverage versus steel, for example. So steel, like an A slash, yeah? So he's running fire instead. So just remember in the back of your head, fire and fighting actually have some reasonably similar coverage in the Great League meta at the moment, primarily hitting steel. What it doesn't hit is normal in the same way. So here you've got Skeleturge is arguably subbing in for a fighter. Your anti-fighter, you've actually got a lot of options here for anti-fighters in Cress, Altaria and Azu, but let's say for the purposes of this, your anti-fighter is Cress. We'll stick with Cress. Your flyer is your Altaria. Your anti-flyer, now this is where it gets interesting. Your anti-flyer, Trip has done this very smartly. Azu is a pretty good anti-flyer when the flyer is Gligar and the flyer is Altaria. When those two are particularly popular, Azu's a great anti-flyer, right? It has ice coverage. What are the other two types that hit flying type? What are the other two? Well, they're actually, yeah, no, they're two, right? What are the other two types that are super effective against flying other than ice? I'm just going to tell you. It's rock, and yeah, thank you, Bobby. It's rock and it's electric. Look at what else Tripper's bringing. He's bringing rock coverage with Quag and electric coverage with Magnezone. So although he doesn't have a perfectly clean anti-flyer in Azumarill, he actually has a very good anti-flyer in Magnezone. Magnezone can be a little bit sketchy against Gligar. It has play, but it can be sketchy, so the Azumarill can cover that. So he's got ice, rock, and electric. He's absolutely fine against flyers. He's got steel in Magnezone, right? So pseudo fighter, we're going to come back to it. Fighter, anti-fighter, flyer, anti-flyer, steel in Shadow Magnezone, and there's your Mud Boy. All right, there's your Mud Boy, and he can beat Spark Lantern is much easier to beat with Quag than Watergun Lantern. If you're running Quag, if you're thinking about running Quag, be careful because Watergun Lantern will beat you. But he's not running a fighter. So what are the things that struggle without access to a fighter? You might struggle against normal, you might struggle against steel, you might struggle against dark, you might struggle against rock. There's not so many rock types, so let's not really focus on that one so much. But actually, even if we had to, look at this. You've got grass coverage with Cress, you've got water coverage with Azu, you've got ground and water coverage with Quagsire. So you're fine against rock. Are you fine against steel? Well, yes. You've got this fire coverage here, and you've got ground coverage from the Quagsire as well. And honestly, Shadow Magnezone against a lot of the steels also has play, right? Against Skarmory, that's the most popular steel. Shadow Magnezone absolutely hardwalls it. So you're fine against steel. What about normal? What about Vigoroth and Lickitung? They're the most popular normals. Well, Vigoroth, Cress is generally preferable. Altaria is generally preferable. Azu is generally preferable. And Skeleturge double resists both Body Slam and Counter, so it has plenty of play into Vigoroth. It needs to obviously be careful of Rock Slide, as does Altaria, and Quag outpaces Vig, okay? This can one-shot a Vig. In the end game, it doesn't want to see Vig otherwise, but like you have play against Vig. As I say though, if you don't have Annihilate on your team, Vig will pretty much always have play into your team. It's just something you've got to accept in this meta. Dark types. What play do you have against dark types? Well, actually, you've got some decent play. Although you've got Dark is super effective against Skeleturge, you do have access to Disarming Voice if he's running Moonblast on Cress. You've got Moonblast on Altaria. You've got Play Rough on Azu as well, and then neutral play into Darks here. So actually, there's plenty of play into the Pokemon that fighting would be good against, and I really like Trip's team. If I had to pick any of the teams in the NAIC meta to play on day 2, if I picked any day 2 team, I probably, if it were me, would have picked Triptando's team to go and play. I think, on paper, this team could have won the whole event. Right? If you get maybe you need the right matchups. You obviously, every game is as it comes, but this team, I think, could have won the event in the same way that when I went into Bologna, I messaged Lyle Jess, and I said to Lyle, the team that I am taking into Bologna can win this event. Unfortunately, it's being piloted by a fool, this guy, and I didn't win, but I could have, I maybe should have, I could have, but I was just like, this team has the potential to win. Triptando's team, when I look at it, I'm like, this has the potential to have won this event. But I did really like Pocket's team as well. Pocket's team was very good. All right, last one. I'll give you one more team that I'll go through. someone mentioned someone else's team, so let me just quickly find where that was. Was Bopper team kind of famous? Says Alejandro. Bopper team's here. Okay, well that's just the same team. So I'm not going to go through that team. Let's go through Pocket's team, just because I think Pocket's team was very good as well. I'll zoom out. Can you see Pocket's team? Here? There, Pocket team's here. Here. Okay, Pocket has Vigoroth as the fighter, Cress as the anti-fighter. He had Gligar as the flyer. The anti-flyer was Charjabug. He didn't have a steel. He did have Quag as the anti-lantern, but he actually put Feraligatr instead of a steel. And he didn't cover for that steel anywhere. He doesn't have anything that resists Dragon, and he doesn't have anything that resists Charm. And that is risky. It is a risk. But he got lucky. I don't think he faced many Dragons, and I don't think he faced many Charmers. And so he did well. He did well, but it doesn't mean the team's perfect. He made a call that I don't think I'm going to see many Dragons, and I don't think I'm going to see many Charmers. And so he just went with it. And if he does see them, well, Cress is bulky. Cress has access to Moonblast. It can hit the Dragons. Vigoroth, if there's no Ape on the team, has play into everything. I'll say it again. Vigoroth is super, super flexible. And then I guess he's just using Feraligatr, which has access to Ice Beam and can beat Altaria. It's the normal Feraligatr, bear in mind, so it has better play into Altaria, which is the most popular dragon. And then Shadow Gligar and Shadow Quag pace very well. So he has play into them, but they also have a lot of potential into him. You ran Pocket's team in a practice and it struggled against Licky Cress. I mean, yeah, you have Vigoroth for Licky. You have Charjabug, which has play into Licky and play into Cress. Feraligator's honestly not terrible against Licky and Cress. Gligar's not. It's not terrible into Licky Cress. It's not terrible. You'd lean into like those Pokemon that I just mentioned. Okay, this will be my last one now. Ilum's team. Oh, I like this team as well, actually. Okay, Ilum has Annihilate as the fighter. As the anti-fighter, this is where it gets a little bit funny, because he actually runs, you could arguably say, Charjabug as the anti-fighter. That resists fighting. Okay, but it's not clean. So he needs a little bit of help against fighting, particularly Annihilate, the most popular fighter. So how does he do that? He puts Mandibuzz in. Mandibuzz walls all the energy from Ape's charge attack, so it's much, much better versus Annihilate than any other dark type. And so he accounts for the fact that Charjabug isn't a clean anti-fighter with Mandibuzz as his flyer. His anti-flyer is Carbink. Carbink has access to Rock. Rock isn't perfect against all of the flyers in the meta, because obviously we've got Skarmory in the meta, so that's why we can now turn back to Charjabug, where it has the electric coverage. So he's got electric and he's got Rock. He's got the Skarmory as his flyer. This makes sense because he doesn't have access to ice, so he doesn't have anything that's double super effective against Gligar. He's not running ice, instead he's running Skarmory as his steel, so Skarmory is his hard answer to Gligar. For anyone that doesn't know, Carbink is actually pretty good into Shadow Gligar as well. Carbink has a lot of play into Shadow Gligar because it resists the wing attacks. His steel is Skarmory, and his anti-lantern here, you've got Quagsire. Mudboy plus Skarm is a really good core. Remember that. There's one other thing that he probably did that I don't know if he did, but he might have done. Quag is decent into Lantern, it's not perfect. Charjabug is very decent into Lantern, it's not perfect. There is a chance that he ran a high attack Carbink here. And the reason is because Carbink can reach a Rock Throw breakpoint against Spark Lantern. That means it wins all shield scenarios against Spark Lantern. Carbink cannot beat Watergun Lantern even with the breakpoint. So with a Watergun Lantern meta, this team gets rinsed by Watergun Lantern. Watergun Lantern beats Skarmory, it beats Carbink, it will beat almost all Mandibuzz, it beats Quagsire, it can beat Annihilate, and it has much better play into Charjabug as well. So this team, I wouldn't recommend now. Ilum got away with it here. If he faced loads of Watergun Lantern, he might find it a lot harder to much more difficult against Watergun Lantern. We're not seeing any Lantern, however, in top 8. So he managed to avoid them. It's an interesting team. If anyone doesn't know, if you were to set up the meta at the moment on PvPoke, if you were to go through the sims of every single Pokemon in the meta against every single Pokemon of the meta, the best performing Pokemon on sims alone across all shield scenarios is Carbink. So if you're building a team and you've got access to Carbink, just have a think about that. Carbink is actually the best performing Pokemon on sims alone versus the meta. That doesn't mean it's perfect for Show 6. That doesn't mean I'm saying use Carbink. That doesn't mean I'm saying I'm going to bring Carbink. I'm just saying that it has a pretty insane win rate and a pretty insane average against the meta. If someone can unlock Carbink, fair play to them. I don't think it's the easiest to bring because although it has the highest win rate against the overall meta, when you actually look at the breakdown of current Show 6 teams, I don't know why the music stopped, by the way. Oh no, it's just my headphones run out of battery. I'm not saying Carbink is the play, I'm just saying if you can build a team around Carbink, you could cause people some uncomfortable situations. If Whiscash takes the place for Quag, then Watergun Lantern isn't a problem. Yeah, Whiscash is a lot better. Shadow Whiscash especially is a lot better versus Lantern than Quag. But again, Watergun Lantern is better versus Mudboys in general than it ever was as Spark. So just be mindful of that. Just be mindful of that. What do I think about Giratina Origin? I think Giratina Origin is pretty good. And I think it has potential. You've just probably got to pair it with a Vigoroth. And maybe a Wigglytuff as well. Cedric's team? Who's Cedric? Who's Cedric? Second right to left bottom row. Oh, of course. Cedric. Okay. Cedric seems interesting. You got an ad break? That's a shame. I'm sorry about that. You can watch the VOD maybe. Okay, Cedric runs Vigoroth as his fighter. He actually runs Annihilate as his anti-fighter. So it's an interesting approach, but he covers the fact that Annihilate isn't a perfect anti-fighter against another Annihilate in two ways, and that's because he runs Mandibuzz as his flyer, and he actually runs Azumarill as his anti-flyer. So Azumarill and Mandibuzz both have play into Annihilate, so those three together can cover opposing Annihilate potentially. Because, as we say, Azumarill isn't the perfect anti-flyer, he also runs the Shadow A-Slash. Shadow A-Slash has quicker access to ice coverage than Azumarill does. And it obviously is also the Steel type, and then you've got Lantern as your you've got Whiscash as your anti-Lantern. What my thoughts are on the team are... This team is not for me. This team is not for me because I would bring my Annihilate into this team, and I am pretty sure my Annihilate would tear through this team if I got it in the right place, right? Yes, it doesn't want to be up against Mandibuzz, but the counters can still put in damage and you can move around. You hard wall Vig, you have decent play into a Whiscash, you outpace the Azumarill to the first thing, so you can throw a Shadow Ball into an Azumarill and dip. That makes it a little bit tricky. Obviously, in an Annihilate mirror, it can be a bit iffy, but if you win CMP and or if you have any advantage, then you're laughing, and you absolutely rinse this A-Slash. So the biggest threats here are the Mandibuzz, the Azumarill, and so if you have access to a Charger Bug, you can run Charger Bug and Annihilate pretty freely into this team. Because Charger Bug has play into everything, and Annihilate has pretty decent / dominant play when it needs to. So for me personally, I wouldn't run Cedric's team. In the end, had you helped Martine in team building? Where is Martine's team? God, I feel blind not being able to see it. Here. Did I help him with this team? I didn't help him with this team, actually. He showed me this team, and we chatted about it briefly. I had reservations on the team, and actually, I think when he started the event, he also had reservations on the team. So, Alejandro, if you're thinking of running a Giratina team, I probably wouldn't rush to this one without having a think about it first, is what I'd say. Right, team, that is, I am sleepy now, and I'm sweaty, so I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. Let's see who we're gonna raid. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to go back and watch the VOD. If there's anything that you feel you missed, I'm gonna throw you into the stream of someone that I respect and admire very much. So Rise has just started streaming, and he is a great person and caster to watch. So if you haven't watched Rise already, which I'm sure you have, everyone's watched Rise, but if not, go and say hi to Rise from me. Go and enjoy his stream, and hopefully see you on Friday. I will be around the same time on Friday, maybe slightly later because not a work night, but go and have fun and enjoy the rest of your. I've actually not spelled that right, so you're not going to go yet. Raid Rise to occasion. So you will get it in 10 seconds. But yes, have a good rest of your afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. And I will see you same time again on Friday.